Y'all, today we are going to take this amazing, adorable little bread box that I found. I found it at a thrift shop. I paid just under $3, $2.97, and I thought, one, solid color, perfect. I could always even spray paint it if I needed to, but it's in really good shape. But I thought, I can chalk on this, use it in my kitchen, and then whatever holiday coming up, I can change it. So that's what we're going to do today, is we are going to chalk on this, and then the next, in January, we're going to do a buffalo plaid. So we're doing this plaid on it, and we're going to do it in red, so it's red and black. Be beautiful. And then in the spring, I can change it and give it a whole new look. Or in January, February, I can change it and give it a whole nother look. And we'll do that video when we get there. So what we're going to do is the front side. We're going to do this part. And we're going to do the lid. We are not going to do the back because it's always against the wall. And I'm not going to do the sides. I thought a lot about the sides, but I decided no, I wouldn't do them. So that is the plan. And so let's get our supplies together and get started. I am going to use these two pastes basically to hold it up because the lid is, I want to be able to stand it so that I can get the stencil on it without the lid causing a problem. So let's get started. We will take our stencil off the backing paper. And I have used this stencil before, so it is not as sticky. I am not going to do tacky on it. I am not going to put it up against a towel so that it gets all tacky because it already is less tacky. Stop it. Than it would have been anyway. So, I don't need that bottom like so. It is still pretty tacky though. And lift it and lay it over. And now we'll just smooth it out real well. And I'm going to go ahead and put it over the edges as much as it can, but I'm not going to do the whole side. And you'll notice these don't stick, and that's because they're supposed to be clear. I mean, that's going to be red, straight up red. So let's go ahead and get our paste out, and it is the new paste. Very creamy, very wonderful. My squeegee. We're just going to put it right on. We'll be able to see pretty much right away how this is going to come out. Because we're going to take this part off when we get ready to do the top, so we'll be able to see this. Make sure it's getting through that screen real well. Check it before we pull it all the way off. So we just want to make sure we're getting it all in there really well, into those little ridges here and into the white area. The dark green area here is just silk, so there's nothing to go through there. It's not putting it on the container, so we don't really have to worry that much about it. The rest of them, we really want to make sure we get a good color on it. I want to use all the ink, or the paste. I don't want to have it go to waste on the screen. Now, I could have used ink on this. I could have used the Couture ink, and then we would just heat it in the oven since it's a metal container. And it would have been fine, but it would have been permanent. And I decided, since it was going in my kitchen, what I would like to do is be able to change it when the mood strikes me. You know how that is. So we all have that, get the urge to do something different. And that way, this is not permanently one thing or another. I can change it whenever I feel like it. So let's look at it, see what we think. Hoping it's not too dry on this side. I don't think it is. No, it looks good. I don't want to pull it too much because it will distort the stencil. So what I want to do is work it off. And that little spot where I stuck my finger, we're not going to worry about it because it will come right off with water. So right down here where I got it wet from my hand to onto the can, it'll come right off. And that is what that looks like. Clean up the edge here. I think it looks beautiful. Let's move these out of the way so we can do the top. We can do it without having to clean the stencil because I didn't use the whole stencil. So see, I still have quite a bit left over. So just a second to clean up a little bit. Okay, I had the red on my fingers and I had to go wash. You saw how it transferred directly onto the can. And I didn't want that to happen again. So now we're going to use the opposite side of the stencil, one we haven't used yet. And on this side, we're going to use a little bit more of it because we have the whole lid. But we have that handle. So lift up and let it sit like this for just a second. I'll put it back down. Press. See how this works. Come back here. Go. On there as straight as we can. Step down as well as we can. We're going to have a few little ridges, but it's because it's a rounded surface. And the rounded surface really gives us a hard time. Come on. Thank you. Go. Push that down. Goes over the edge. Now, like I said, I could have used the ink. Had it be permanent on here, baked it on, it would have stayed that way forever. And that would be fine if I knew for a fact that I wanted it to stay this design. But I don't know that for a fact. So, put that on there. It's going to take a lot of the paint, of the paste. So we're just going to go ahead and start slathering it on. And it really, for an object this large, it really is not taking us that long at all. If I weren't talking, it would be a lot quicker, but, you know, it would be a boring channel to watch as well. So, I have to talk because, you know, we want to be entertained while we're watching. And the really nice thing about this, like I said, I will be able to just use soap and water and get this paste off at a later date. Months from now, it'll still wash right off, and I'll be able to just start all over with something new. And I've got farmhouse stencils. I've got kind of a Tuscan tile stencil. I have some floral stencils that would look beautiful in the spring. So that is why I didn't want this to be permanent. I may at some point in time find a stencil that I am in love with and that I want it to be on there forever and ever, amen. But right this second, I like buffalo plaid, but I don't know that I'd like it forever. And red is really not in my wheelhouse. I do a lot more blues. And so that's another thing, is I don't really want to be, harnessed into red. Because red's a hard color if you don't want red. It's a hard color to match into the rest of your decor if you're not doing red. Flip this around and finish. You can see how much stencil there was left, which is kind of cool. Almost done. You'll be able to see it. And like I said, as soon as it dries, it's ready to go. It goes on my cabinet for the holidays. It'll be very cute. I'll keep bread in it, probably tortillas in it, any number of things in it that I don't necessarily want on my counter, but I want it to be pretty. You know how that goes. We just want stuff to basically, let's just be honest, ladies, we just want stuff we have to dust later. And I'm not really sure why that is. I think somebody convinced us that was right. And now we're kind of stuck with it. So let us take this off. My husband's giving me a look like, what are you talking about? Men don't understand.
He does.
You're not wrong. He says, I don't dust. He's not wrong. I dust when I have to. That's about it. Count me coming over. I will dust. Well, I'm not hugely happy with the front came out because it was too... No. It was too folded over the edge. The top doesn't do that, but the bottom does. And I just got it on me again.
Or you hold it on.
Well, either way, but you gotta hold. It's stuck to that metal, and I'll have to clean up some areas, but it'll be fine. And ta-da! Yes, I have to clean it. Well, that's what the sink's for. Like I said, it is very hard to get it over the top. I have some areas here, but the thing is, I can clean it all up, even the little areas in the middle. I can clean it up with a toothpick or with my tool later, and it will look beautiful. So let me wash this up, and I'll do some cleanup as it dries, and then we'll come back and look at it. Now, as you can see, all I do is go in and I just rub that paint off when it's somewhere I don't want it. And I've already got quite a few of the areas in between done, where I have cleaned up the lines. And it's just, it can be a little tedious, especially it's basically something this large and metallic, because the paint really likes to go underneath that. I don't know that I would recommend curved. If it had been flat, I think it would have been better. But see how quickly that cleaned up. So we'll just go through, get this all cleaned up, and it will be on my counter for the holidays. But you can see how well it is cleaning up. Now, would I do this again with the buffalo? You can bet yourself no. If I did, I would probably cut that stencil down. It was a very large stencil, and I am not fabulous with the really large stencils. I tend to get in my own way, which I'm sure some of you completely understand. But see how quickly this is going. It's just a matter of go in and clean up our lines just a hair. You can use any tool. I'm using this one because it was handy, but I have also used toothpicks, skewers, X-Acto knives. I don't know that I would do it on this because of the paint, the black enamel, but anything that will go between those lines and just scratch right off. So you can see it's starting to really clean up well. Now, once I get this little piece done, I'll show you what the top looks like. I just stuck my finger in it. That's the other thing. Gotta steer clear of where you've painted, especially since I just basically washed up that stencil. So I am very damp. Now, in the areas where it pulled up because the stencil was crooked or the stencil was wadded, like right here, I can go back in with a paintbrush and put over it. But honestly, it does not bother me because I kind of like that vintage look that it gives it. It gives it an older, kind of antique-y look because not many people have these metal bread boxes anymore. I know my grandmother had one on her counter and I just loved it, and that's probably why I bought this one. And so, you know, that is one thing. I have some really cute designs that are flat that would just go right on this, and I think they would be really adorable. And so maybe that's what I will do in the spring or after the holidays. But during the holidays, we're going to leave it this buffalo plaid because it will be very festive. And at the end of it, if I wanted, I could add a little greenery to the top to make it a little bit more holiday-esque. Probably won't, since it's going on my counter and I'm actually going to use it. But if I were to have it on a side table to where we just use it occasionally, maybe stored napkins in it or something like that, then yes, I would definitely put a little zhuzh on it and give it some holiday floral to go on top. So, but there you go. The top is pretty beautiful, if I do say so myself. And it's all cleaned up there. I'll get this at the handle done because the handle was a bit of a nightmare. And I'll do that as it dries a little bit more. It'll come off a lot easier if it's completely dry. But that is our project for today. And now I have this wonderful bread box that can sit on my counter for the holidays. So I appreciate y'all coming by DIY with Jeannie. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Please give me a comment, give me a thumbs up, let me know what you think, and I will see you next time.